Greetings from Presidency PU College, Yelahanka. Welcome to our podcast. Today, we are honored to have with us Aditya Kamath, a shining example of academic excellence and brilliance. With an impressive score of NEET All India Ranking 28, Aditya's journey has been nothing short of inspiring and enlightening. So here is Aditya Kamath. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming here. So tell us about yourself, Aditya.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm from Mangalore. Cleared NEET 2 years ago.
Okay.
I'm currently pursuing my Bachelor's of Science Research in Biology
Great.
and Bioengineering
That's amazing.
at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore.
Okay.
That's all about me.
Okay.
Nothing else significant yet.
Oh, that's great. Now, the most important question: why not medicine?
Yeah, so I have been asked that.
Yes.
And in fact, when I first took ISC, I also thought to myself, why did I do it?
Yeah, I mean, you got such an impressive score of NEET All India Ranking 28, and you didn't end up taking MPBS, right? And that is really interesting. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so for quite some time, I was always in two minds. You know,
Okay.
I wanted to do medicine or I wanted to go to research.
Okay.
But the thing is, there were many factors, right?
Okay.
So one of them was that the idea of doing research excites me so much more
Okay.
than doing medicine.
Okay.
Moreover, I come from a family of doctors.
Okay. So too many doctors in the family already.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I thought, maybe it's time to do something a bit different.
Different. Okay. You wanted to stand out, right?
Yeah, and also looking back, the idea of sitting on the cutting edge
Yeah.
of science
Yes.
is so much, for me, may not be for others,
Okay.
for me at least, is so much more exciting than using what has been used
Okay.
in that has been developed by basic scientists
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
in clinics.
So you want to find out something new rather than studying that's already been invented. So you find that inspiring. And
Yes,
am I
yes,
right? Okay,
yes.
that's great. So Aditya, can you please take us through that exact moment when you heard you had scored an All India ranking of 28?
Yeah.
How did that feel? And
Yeah.
what was happening around you?
Yeah, so the results were actually released very late. So
Okay.
they came at, I think, 11:30 p.m.
Okay.
So the results were very overdue. That's the first thing.
Okay.
So I was like checking the website.
So that would have built up a lot of anticipation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes.
I was checking the website the whole day, and then I was like, it's not coming today. I went to bed,
Okay.
and at around 11:30, my sister calls my dad,
Okay.
saying that the NEET results have been released.
Around. Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
He didn't wake me up.
Okay.
Okay, and he just checked it first,
Okay.
and then he told me that this was the thing, and I was really shocked.
Okay.
I was not expecting it.
Or is like he woke you up from your sleep and he's like, come, the NEET results are out?
No,
Huh.
I just noticed that the light from his phone was on. He
Okay.
didn't wake me up.
Okay.
Because I mean, sure, I ran around the house once.
Okay. Okay.
Because, like I said, I simply wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Because I knew my score. I knew
Okay.
it was 705.
Okay.
But from the previous, I think, 2 years, there had always consistently been someone getting 720.
Yes. Okay.
At least two people.
Yes. Okay.
It was just that in 2022, no one got 720
Okay.
because of the nature of the paper.
Okay.
So 705 was good
Pretty
enough.
impressive.
Good
Yes.
enough, yes, to give me
Okay.
a rank of 28.
Yes.
Even though nowadays 705 would be considered modest,
Okay.
right?
But then it meant a lot, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, there wasn't much excitement because everyone was asleep,
Okay.
right?
Now, how did you feel?
I was
Surreal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I had already registered for ISC by then,
Okay. By then. Okay.
without knowing the NEET results. So the first thing that came to all of our minds was that, yeah, we've paid for the seat. We're almost certainly going.
Okay.
But do we have to drop it now
Okay.
and take this up instead?
Yes. So that thought did cross your mind. Yeah.
I mean, of course it did.
Okay.
Right.
Yes,
And-
obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, and there were even like many of, I think the AIM seniors have this thing of messaging you and
Yeah, and finding out how.
yeah.
Yes,
So then that was also there to deal with, and you had those guys also asking, "Are you sure you want to drop this?"
Yeah.
So all of this was happening at like 11:30, 12.
Okay.
But I think it was my decision in in that 1 hour around where I said that no,
This is what I'm going to
whatever
do.
happens,
Yeah.
no matter how much I'm told that
Okay.
this is a better option,
Yeah.
I'm not going to drop IIT.
Okay.
I will go.
That's excellent. You stood by your grounds till the very end. So Aditya, please tell us about your NEET preparation journey.
Yeah. So my NEET preparation journey was just about 2 years long.
Okay.
So what I'd like to focus on in this question is actually the transformative power of it.
Okay.
So for me at least, this particular preparation journey is what set sort of a template for my work ethic. So to say.
Okay. Okay.
So the reason that is because before 11th and 12th, there were no real challenges
Okay.
for which kind of decide how your future career
Is going to be.
is going to pan out.
Yeah.
Right. So it's only in 11th and 12th that you realize that you have the set of exams. For me, it was NEET and KVPY.
Okay.
That you have to give and you have to excel at.
Yeah.
So it's not
Choice.
an optional.
It's not an option at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like prior to 11th standard, I was actually quite average. Didn't really care that much. But it was that 11th and 12th of excessive planning.
Okay.
A lot of working.
Okay. Yes. Of course.
And that sort of focus was 2 years of intense focus that that really changed me as a person itself.
Okay, on a personal level, it affected you.
Yes.
Okay.
So even though I didn't end up taking the seat, I think that the NEET preparation journey was like extremely important.
Yes.
And I think that if done the right way, it turns you into something different.
Something different.
Yes.
Okay, great. So what is your advice to NEET aspirants? Particularly, what are the do's and don'ts that these people really have to follow in order to crack NEET?
Yeah. So there are a whole lot of things that have to be done. Unfortunately, I can't encapsulate the entire thing in just one question. But they will be covered in the subsequent questions.
Yeah, sure.
But the main thing that I'd really like to emphasize on is your planning.
Okay, planning.
So one thing that I've noticed that many NEET students don't do is they simply don't plan their day.
Okay, planning the day is important. Okay.
Yeah, and when I say plan your day, like I don't mean just write down that this is what I want to do.
Okay.
I mean like you should be planning hour to hour. So like it should be written in your diary that 5:30 to 7 I'm going to do this. 8:30 to this time I'm going to do this. Okay. This time to this time I'm going to do this.
Okay. So the entire thing is clocked out, right?
Logged out.
Yes. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
So it gives you a direction. So you don't have to waste brain space in thinking about what am I going to do next, because you've already thought about it, you've already planned for it.
And you've already put it on the paper.
Yes. The previous day.
Yes.
And this doesn't get changed for anything.
Okay, great.
Right? No functions, not even say I want to do some other subject. No, you have to do that subject.
Okay. So you need to plan it and you have to stick to it throughout. Yeah. Okay.
Because one thing also that many students do is that they're like, I don't like physics. So I've planned physics, but I'm not going to do it. I'll do bio instead.
Okay.
The thing is, this sort of attitude persists for days. And then 1 week later, you've lost touch with the subject.
True.
It is that easy to lose touch, right? And in an exam where you have to, go through 200 questions and answer 180 in 200 minutes, you can't afford to lose touch of a subject, because you lose touch implies loss in speed.
Absolutely, I must agree. Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's why you absolutely have to plan 100%.
Okay, great.
And you should, even at the bottom of your diary, for every page, you should have a certain set of long-term goals.
Okay.
By long-term goals, I don't mean the ones like your career long-term goals.
Can you give us an example of that?
Yeah. So, say that you're practicing for physics, and there's a certain source of questions that you need to practice from.
Okay.
And you need to finish that pool of questions.
Okay.
You can't do it in one day.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? So you have to put that at the bottom of the page to remind yourself every day that I have to finish this pool of questions.
Okay.
This pool of questions
much like a
exists.
reminder.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. This pool of questions exists.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And you have to do that.
Okay.
And every day, also, this is also preferred that you have to write at the top of the page that how many days are remaining for your exam.
Like a countdown.
Yes, because it seems like a lot of time, 2 years.
Okay.
But 2 years is over in no time. You know,
I get it.
I remember back then thinking that there's still 2 years left.
Yeah.
But it's already 4 years since then, and I don't even notice that time has passed. It's just that things go really quickly, and that gives you a sense of perspective. That this many days from now, I'm definitely giving the exam.
Great. So that is the do's. What about the don'ts?
Yeah. So one thing that again many students do is that this is very standard, but it's unfortunately quite significant. So it's like they waste a lot of time on media.
Okay.
Okay. It is an unfortunate fact. So the thing is, they are there. Okay?
Yeah.
And there's nothing especially wrong with having one.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I'd suggest to anyone who was serious is that when you're studying, I still do that today. Like, keep your phone away from your hand. So, like, say you're sitting at a table, keep it at the other end of the room.
Okay.
So, if you want to access your phone, you have to walk across the room, take it.
Okay.
So, I'm particularly lazy, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay. So, you're using your laziness to your advantage, right?
Yeah. So just keep the phone away from you. Don't look at it too often, because I did start slipping into that thing. I think during quarantine, I did start going through phones too much. It's a problem. Okay. Shouldn't be done. That's one of the main things. The other thing, the don'ts, I think, as a spin-off of the first thing, is that don't not plan. You know?
Yes. Don't not plan.
Yes,
Yeah, interesting.
Yes. Always have a plan.
Yeah. Okay.
And one other important don't is don't read physics.
Okay.
Solve physics.
Okay.
So physics is not a subject to be read.
Okay.
And one thing that I remember many of my peers doing and many of my juniors doing is that, like, I'm reading physics.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
You can't.
Okay, because in the end, you have to aim to solve one physics question in 90 seconds.
Yeah, 90 seconds.
90 seconds.
Okay.
So 90 seconds, now when I think about it, I think, how did I do that?
Yeah,
that
right.
time?
Yeah.
Because 90 seconds is a really short frame of time.
Exactly.
So if you want to sharpen yourself to not make errors in 90 seconds per question.
Yes. So that takes a lot of practice, yeah?
Yes, the practice has to be like truckloads of questions. And if you're reading, you're not going to be able to do truckloads of questions.
Yes, true.
And this goes not just for physics, but also for chemistry and bio.
Yes.
You have to practice to get that timing right.
Yes. Great.
The third thing for a don't is that don't think that, don't shirk from mugging up formulae.
Okay.
Okay, so NEET is, as a matter of fact, it's a faulty exam. It's a very faulty exam.
How would you say that?
Because it simply is not going to test the true knowledge of a student.
Okay.
It's testing how well you can memorize a set of facts, which in the end is not really important at all.
Okay, that makes sense.
And the thing is, for many of these so-called complex questions, which many students see in physics, there is actually a very smart shortcut formula.
Okay.
The problem is that shortcut formulae are not easy to remember.
Yeah. Okay.
And most people think that I'll learn how to derive it. I'll derive it in the exam hall. I'm
And-
not going to waste my brain space on memorizing.
Okay.
Absolutely wrong.
That's
Don't
a
do
disaster.
that.
That's going to be a
Yes.
disaster. Yeah.
Because you can't derive.
You only have 90 seconds per question, like you said. So you definitely have to rely
Correct.
on a shortcut
Correct.
rather than solving it out and then coming to a conclusion.
Correct.
Makes sense. Yeah.
You cannot derive an exam.
Yes.
Equation there. You
Okay.
have to memorize it.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So it's hard, but it has to be done.
Okay.
Similarly, related to this don't, there's another do, and that is for each subject, consider making a small notebook.
Okay.
What are you going to put in here?
Mhm.
Is for physics, you're going to put all your formulae.
All your formulae. Okay.
Now, what's the advantage of this book? It's that I used to carry my book around with me wherever I went.
Okay.
So I just open it once in a while. And the thing is, if you look at something every day, it gets burnt into your memory.
That is true.
Yes. So that's the point of that book.
Okay.
The issue is, again, what many students do is that they have this sort of, each lesson is like a few, an entire bucket load of notes,
Yeah.
which they've taken during class.
I know.
and
I
that,
know. Yes.
Yeah. That's not something that's not something good.
Yes.
Now, it is considered something good, but it's not.
It's not. Okay.
Because it might help you like during the class, but once you've taken those notes, don't ever refer to them again.
Don't refer to your class notes, is what he says. Okay.
Because your NEET exam is not based on your class notes. It's based on NCERT.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so you have to like remember every line of NCERT.
Yes.
And I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
I totally agree.
I mean that you should remember sentences from the textbook, entire sentence from the textbook. And if there are sentences that are important, write down those sentences in that book.
Okay.
So it's like one book for a subject. A classmate 100-page notebook should be good.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So say one lesson is 4 pages max.
Max. Okay.
Okay. And all these nuggets are just compressed into various parts of the page.
Okay.
So I remember because of those notes, I could revise a single lesson in less than 30 minutes.
Okay.
And remember every point from NCERT.
One lesson in 30 minutes.
Yes.
You could memorize it.
Through and through. Because like the important points from NCERT, I'm not talking about the concepts.
Yeah.
The thing is with class notes is that you put the entire concept
there. Yes.
The concepts should already be firmly inside your head. And these should be the little points that are kind of nonsensical.
Yes.
That should be just put
just
over
phrases,
there.
even though even if not sentences.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it was really helpful in me. I remember in my exam, I needed that a lot.
Okay.
Because in my chemistry and physics, both of them, there were like sentences from the textbook.
Okay.
And if I had not made those notes, I wouldn't have been able to answer these questions.
Excellent.
So I really think that that's something that has to be done.
Okay. So those are the do's and don'ts if at all you're preparing for your NEET. So according to you, which is the most challenging subject when it comes to physics, chemistry, and biology in terms of NEET preparation?
Yeah. So the subject that took me the longest to get the hang of was physics. Physics, yeah, which I'm sure is the case for almost all NEET
Many,
students.
yes. Okay.
I really liked physics, but that didn't mean that I was getting very good scores in it.
Okay.
So when I started off, I remember that I was actually getting stalled at around 150 out of 180.
Okay.
So no matter how hard I tried, I would get stuck at that score.
Okay.
There were a few reasons for that.
Okay.
One of them was the number of silly errors I was making.
Okay.
Because when you're going at that sort of breakneck speed, you're bound to make silly errors.
Yes.
So the first thing was to reduce those. And I think what was really important there was that every time a test was done, it has to be analyzed.
Yes.
It has to be analyzed question for question.
Okay.
Okay. And you have to note down that this was a silly error.
Okay. Okay. Note down your silly errors.
Because this sounds cheap, but you have to guilt trip yourself.
Okay. Guilt tripping was here.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the thing is, you don't want to make a silly error in your actual exam. right?
Okay.
So this is
For the
all,
good.
this is all a method towards stopping that.
Mhm.
So you have to analyze the paper, see, was this a silly error, was it a conceptual thing? And so the first thing was silly errors. That's definitely done through practice.
Okay.
And when I say practice, I mean take OMR sheets, print out an OMR sheet from the web,
Okay.
and practice bubbling it in as
Okay.
you're solving.
Okay.
Don't take your book and tick.
Okay. So try filling in the
Yes,
dots. Okay.
because filling in the OMR takes up a significant amount of time.
Yeah. Okay.
And also because it's an irreversible process. You can't
You
rub
can't
it
do
off,
it. Yes.
right? Once it's done, it's done.
It's done. Yeah.
So you have to practice with the OMR, time, and you should, when you're correcting, you might say, I knew that,
Yeah,
but I
it.
mismarked it.
Yes.
So
Okay.
even if that's the case, put it wrong.
Okay.
Calculate your total score
Okay.
and see what that is.
Okay. So along with the subject knowledge, your time management is equally important.
Yes.
And you need to train yourself for it.
Yes. You need to train yourself with the correct amount of time, with the OMR sheet, and with a representative set of questions.
Okay.
To get your physics right in terms of silly errors. So that should cure your silly error thing.
Okay.
It won't do it immediately, of course. It takes months.
Months.
Okay. For the silly errors to phase out.
Okay.
The second thing is a lack of conceptual knowledge.
Okay.
So many of the mock tests you do are obviously not entirely representative of NEET. So in the end, your NEET paper is conceptually very, very easy.
Okay.
It's not like JEE Advanced.
Okay.
But in your mock test, some of the reasons why you would get answers wrong is because you wouldn't know how to solve.
Okay.
So the first way to do that, what I found is that I did questions from Hetzi Verma.
Okay.
Didn't solve the entire set because that's not really relevant for NEET students.
Okay.
Because it's far too advanced.
Okay.
But if there's one thing that works, it's that solving a higher level of questions gives you a level of confidence that allows you to completely obliterate easier questions.
Okay. That makes sense.
So that's also very important.
Okay.
And also, who knows, right? There's nothing stopping NTA from giving that occasional googly from in physics, right? There's nothing stopping them.
Nothing stopping them. Yes.
Yes. So it's also a good idea to know how to solve that level of questions, so that you can you're ready for any outcome.
Understood.
So that's how I built up my physics scores. Another thing that I did was that I said that I solved Hetzi Verma. I also started solving JEE main questions.
Oh, you did that too. Okay.
JEE main and advanced questions because it was also helpful for my KVP.
Okay, yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't solve the JEE main questions with the JEE main time. I solved it with the NEET time.
Okay.
So practicing that level of questions in the NEET time frame is also important.
Yes. Okay.
So that you're ready for
yourself in that way.
So that you're ready for any outcome. And it was actually after these entire set of changes were made in my preparation that physics started going the right way.
Cool.
And in the end, physics was not a problem either.
At all.
In the actual exam also. Okay. And I think it was because of that kind of preparation.
Okay. So that's the takeaway, right?
Yeah.
So in case you don't want to fear physics, you need to follow what he just
Correct.
said. So to what extent is mathematics important in your NEET preparation, and how does it help in solving physics numericals?
Yeah, so I am by no means a mathematical genius.
Okay.
I'm actually not very good at it.
Okay.
And the truth is, for NEET or even for most physics, even for most JEE main physics, which I solved at least, you don't need a massive amount of maths.
Okay.
You just needed to know the differentiation and integration formulae.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, just remember all your trigonometric identities.
Okay.
But if you're doing NEET and you've taken PCB, don't go too far into it.
Okay.
Because it's really not required.
Okay.
And most of your mathematical methods that are required are there in many of these handbooks which you can just buy off the net.
Okay. Okay.
You don't need to have a superb knowledge of mathematics.
Okay.
If you have taken PCMB like I did, and you don't want to waste time on M,
Okay.
because you will be forced to because of your board exams.
Okay.
What I'd suggest is that thankfully the board exams are pretty pointless. So they're just repeats of textbook questions. Just mug up the questions, go give your exam, forget about mathematics for the moment.
Okay.
And spend the rest of your time entirely on PCB.
Okay.
Because if you're really focused on getting NEET, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
And you don't have to break your head on solving. Because the thing is, you solve so many math questions, you're wasting your time for other subjects. And you're never going to be asked to solve this
Any of
matrix or something in NEET.
So you
Never
feel the
gonna
board level math is more than enough for them to
Not
solve these physics numericals?
Not even board level
Not
math.
even that much.
Not even board level math.
Not even
because
that much. Okay.
I remember I didn't use any of the board level math that I had learned.
Okay.
Any of it in NEET at all. It's not required.
I think that should be good news to our NEET aspirants out there.
Yeah, because it's simply not relevant. A lot of it is simply not relevant.
Okay.
I think it makes much more sense, much more intelligent investment of time to simply learn these essential mathematical methods and just solve your physics problems.
Great. So how important are the test series in NEET preparation, and any AITS strategy that you would recommend?
Yeah, so test series are some of the most important things you do in NEET preparation. So this just goes back to what I said before. Your practice makes perfect, except practice of all three together makes you even more perfect.
Okay.
Not just physics or not just chemistry, not just bio. The thing is, I had taken quite a few All India test series when I was preparing.
Okay.
You should take both online and offline test series.
Okay.
And they should be All India test series.
Okay. They should be All India level.
Yeah, because in my exam, I think 1.8 million people gave it. This time, 2.5 million people will give it. That's an insane number. It's more than the population.
It's becoming more and more competitive now.
It's more than the population of some countries.
Yes,
and unless you truly get a feel of that sort of competition, you will never know where you are in the big picture. So you might be doing well in your class, but again, it's like frogs in the well.
Yes.
Right. So you should really give these exams. They're not 100% representative of what your rank is going to be, because I can tell you that my highest score in an offline AITS my rank was 40 out of 40,000.
Okay.
Now that is more than my actual NEET rank.
Yes.
So even if you don't do as well as you are aiming for, it's fine. Because it's not the actual exam.
Yeah.
What is really important to take home from those tests is that, where did I make errors? Where can I improve?
Yes.
And how good is my time management?
Yes.
Right? So you have to like plan that I'm going to take, say, 30 minutes for bio. I took 30 minutes for bio. So you have 90 questions which you have to answer. You have to choose 100, of course. You have to solve those questions in 30 minutes.
Okay.
So your pace has to be around 20 seconds per question.
20 seconds per question. That's really something.
and you have to also learn while you're doing the paper, what's your policy for leaving a question for the end?
Okay.
For coming back for a review, because that's important. Because if something's controversial, or it's controversial in your mind, you don't want to attempt the wrong answer there.
Yeah.
Right. So you shouldn't be too impulsive either. So you should know what's the very fine line between attempting and not attempting a question. And that only comes through giving an All India test series. Similarly, for chemistry, I think the limit was about 1 minute per question.
Okay.
Physics was 90 seconds.
90 seconds.
So it's only doing All India test series that will show you how these things come together.
Yes. Okay.
Right? And you also obviously have to leave buffer time at the end for coming back to questions which you thought were faulty.
And to review certain other questions.
Yes, yes. So that's the real importance of NEET All India test series. And like I said before, if you've not done well, if you're not doing well in them, not a problem. Just, I guess, be happy. Like I screwed up a lot of All India test series,
Okay.
All India tests. Just be happy that it's not the actual exam,
Yes.
and the actual exam is still there, and this is meant for preparing for that.
Okay.
This doesn't count at all.
Yes. So take it light.
Yeah, and also it's you never know, because when I gave it, I remember I'd get like say 690, 695 on a good day,
Okay.
and the classroom toppers were like 720, 720, 720,
Okay.
then 715, 715, 715, and I'd be somewhere at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was quite disheartening because I was thinking that it's these guys that I have to go against.
Yeah.
But sure, it seemed disheartening at the time, but I didn't realize how important it was that I knew that these people existed.
Okay.
Right? Because
To know your, what kind of competition you're against.
yes, because the competition is absolutely cutthroat.
Yes, it is.
And especially when you're not from a bigger city with these bigger coaching institutes, it's hard to get that kind of perspective.
Yes.
And that's why All India test
So
series
these
are
tests
so
are
important.
absolutely crucial.
Essential.
So please take up as many test series as you can. So what kind of books would you recommend for NEET preparation?
Yeah. So I would just recommend NCRT to anyone who's preparing for NEET.
Okay.
Obviously, it's not enough.
Okay.
You have to practice from a good quality source.
Okay.
The good quality source in question is entirely up to your discretion.
Okay.
Right? There are some which are better than others, but then again, your decision.
Okay.
Right? The thing is, as I have said in previous questions, when I say that you should just be reading NCRT, when I do tell that to many people who ask me this, they're like, "Oh, just NCRT, that's fine."
I know, just
But-
NCRT.
But what they don't understand is when I mean read NCRT, you have to really, really, really read it.
You mean line by line?
Line by line.
Yeah.
And you should notice these sort of very niche points that are just thrown there, waiting to be asked a question on.
Okay.
And those of course should go into the notebook which I mentioned previously.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing you should do in terms of reading. There are also these many textbooks that people go around with, I'm not going to mention any authors in specific, but
in general, the guides and things like that.
yeah, these huge textbooks.
Yeah.
With like 300-ish questions.
Okay.
I would say like never go for those, because textbooks are not dynamic.
Yeah.
They're quite fixed, and they're not revised that often. But NEET is given every year.
Yes.
So the tone of the exam changes. So NEET 2022 was not what I expected at all. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting something like NEET 2021.
Okay.
Just very easy questions which you could just really quickly. But my first question in my set, if I'm not wrong, was a passage.
Okay.
Not a passage, but a set of sentences. Yeah, and I had thankfully practiced those because I had a few good sources.
Okay.
And because I had read NCRT line by line, so because of that, I was able to manage. But if you had, stayed with a book that was not dynamic, with a book that has been fixed for quite some time and that has been following the same old pattern of NEET 2018, NEET 2019, NEET 20, that's not a good thing.
Okay.
Right? Because it all depended on how well I was able to adapt to the fact that this paper is different from previous years, and you have to go through very ambiguous statements in 20 seconds per question.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Right? So that's really important, and it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't had those notebooks which I had mentioned.
Okay.
B, practiced a lot.
Okay.
And practiced from AIMS previous years,
Okay.
assertion and reason.
Okay.
Because NEET 2021, I think, had one assertion reason. I was like, assertion reason won't come.
Yeah.
And also, it had never come in NEET before that.
Okay.
And assertion reason are some of the most diabolical questions I've given.
I know. Oh my God.
Because
It's interesting that you use the word diabolic.
yeah, because they give very weird
Yes,
statements.
I totally agree.
Very weird statements that have little meaning. Really.
Yeah, I know.
And somehow you're supposed to gauge that.
Neither can you assert it, or neither can you reason
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
assertion and reasons.
Yeah, you're supposed to gauge that this is the assertion and this is the. I still don't get it to this day. But if I hadn't solved Ames previous year's questions, I wouldn't have been. I think in Ames previous year's question was asked in my exam.
Okay. So you keep telling previous year questions. So there's a lot of importance in solving PYQs. Am I right?
Yes. So
Okay.
you have to be ready for any outcome. For that, you have to solve, like I said, Ames. Maybe don't go to JIPMER and all that because that's
Be too
very
high.
different from NEET. It's very different from NEET. But definitely do NEET PYQs.
Okay.
They are like they should, because the thing is, when you solve a NEET PYQ, you should know that I should be getting this answer right.
Yeah.
Because a question exactly like this is going to come in the exam.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, you absolutely have to solve PYQs and be worried if you get a PYQ wrong.
Okay.
Because you shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be getting it.
Right. And there's one more thing I'd like to point out here. It's that many a times, many people ask like, what's the weightage of this topic?
Yeah.
In the exam, especially when they're reading from it, because the text is very confusing. I don't want to read it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's the usual thing. So what's the weightage? I'd say that don't worry about weightages. Rather read every topic like it has the highest weightage in the exam. Okay, because the NEET paper setters are not following a very logical pattern from what I have seen from PYQs. So sure, there are topics from which they ask more questions, but you can never tell. They might just ask a truckload of questions from some other lesson which you never expected.
Yeah.
I think even in my NEET there was something like that. I don't remember exactly what, but it was only because I had read the topics which are so-called low weightage that I was able to answer those.
Okay.
So you should read NCERT, not worry about weightage, and be obsessive about the sentences in the textbook. And solve PYQs from Ames and NEET.
Okay, so the takeaway there is a good old NCERT to the rescue and solve plenty of PYQs. So my next question to you is, how do students remain motivated throughout their NEET preparation journey?
Yeah, so keeping motivation is something that's very difficult.
Yes.
But what I would say is that many students, what they do is they go through YouTube, and I think they have these sort of motivational videos. Motivational videos for NEET. I'd say that you shouldn't be doing that.
Okay.
Primarily because your motivation for doing well in this exam should come from yourself.
Okay.
It shouldn't be ignited by some video that you're watching, because that's not real motivation that's going to keep you going for 2 years. Because the fact is that this entire preparation is filled with ups and downs.
Yeah.
There are going to be times in which you've done very well in a mock test and you're like, yes, I can do this.
Yeah.
There'll be other times when you've just simply crashed out and like, yeah, there's no future for me anymore.
Yeah, and you give up all hopes on that.
Yeah, but giving up all hope, like you mentioned, is unfortunately a thing, and it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't.
Right? Because you should be, you should have that sort of intrinsic motivation that keeps you on track throughout.
Okay.
Like no matter what happens, even if I think that it's hopeless, I'm still going to sit down at my desk every day.
You're still going to do that.
Yeah, so that should be the attitude. And there's one more thing that I'd like to bring up in this question specifically is that, when I have talked to whoever has asked me about NEET, they usually tell me something like, all I want to do is get a medical seat.
Yeah.
I don't think that should be the way that people should approach NEET, because it is unfortunately what I think leads to a lack of motivation.
Okay.
Because getting a medical seat is not a massive deal anymore.
Okay.
What should be your goal instead? What I'd say to anyone who asks me about NEET is that you should be aiming to get 720.
Okay.
It's that sort of constant strive for perfection that really keeps any one goal.
Okay.
So it's only if you have that goal in mind that's going to happen. Because the thing is, you'd say that, oh, I'd get above 650, that's fine. And for many people, that's a good target. But the issue with aiming for above 650 is that that's left a leeway of 70 marks.
Yes.
Okay. And getting 650 in 2020 onwards is not the same as getting 650 before 2020.
Okay.
Getting 650 before 2020 was very easy.
Okay.
I mean, very hard.
Very hard.
Very
okay.
hard.
It's very hard.
So I remember my sister, she gave NEET 2018. She got 653
Okay.
and had a rank of 107.
Okay.
So 653 had that kind of power that time.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the exam was so much more difficult. But in our time, 653 would get you nothing great.
Okay, I know, I get it.
You know, because of how the exam has changed.
Yeah.
Because of the increase in competition and the decrease in conceptual difficulty. Right? So for anyone who's saying that they're having this lack of motivation, what I'd say is just get it into your head that you really, really, really have to get 720.
Okay. So that motivation should come from within.
Yes.
So let me add on another question. And how important is discipline here? How important is it?
Very, very important.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not superbly disciplined in terms of the way I keep my rooms and belongings.
Okay.
I see that even nowadays.
Okay.
And it is a problem because it does affect your state of mind. But what's more important, and this is something I did have at that time, was discipline in following the schedule.
Exactly.
So no matter what happens, you're going to stick to this.
Yes.
Like I said before, that's really what kept me in touch with all subjects at the same time.
Yes.
Because if I'm not wrong, by the time you go and give your exam, there are 100 lessons to keep. 100 lessons. Right? And each one of those 100 lessons has to be at the tip of your fingers. So the only way to have those 100 lessons there at that time is to have practiced all of the subjects properly. Okay. And the only way to have done that is to have planned it out. And stuck to the plan.
Yes, and that is discipline.
Yes.
Isn't it? So irrespective of the fact whether you're motivated or demotivated on a particular day, discipline is going to take you across the day, right? Because it's going to make sure you might feel demotivated, but the discipline in you is going to make sure you're going to do the task that you promised you're going to do.
Correct.
Isn't it?
So that's actually what happened to me a lot of the time. Because obviously I was not motivated all the time. You know, there were many times I felt like, why the hell am I, wasting so much time on this? Okay. And I'm just sitting at my desk all day. I'm becoming fatter and more unhealthy by the day also. And why am I wasting 2 years of my life on this? But the thing is, because it was written in my plan and because my parents were so supportive. Great. That's because amazing. They would go through my plan with me every day.
Wow.
Okay, like that was a big thing that kept me on track.
Very supportive.
Yeah. So that's essential for anyone who's getting me. Like really supportive parents.
Great.
And they would support you. You just have to get them to.
You have to get them to support you.
Yeah, and
of course they are going to. They only wish the best for you. So
Exactly. So So I wasn't always motivated all the time. But I always had my dad telling me that you have to. And not you have to, but more of I know that you want to.
Okay, so he knew it, he wanted it to. Okay.
Yeah, because I really did.
You did.
Right? It was just that these small hiccups make you think that you don't want to. And you have these these moments when you screwed up a test and you don't want to do it anymore. But then you just go to your table and you study anyway.
You do it anyway.
Yeah. So you don't like it, you just do it anyway. Great. Because I think after my KVPY exam, I knew that I knew that I'd got my rank. I knew that I'd get into ISC anyway.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to ISC. And this time also I was getting very sick of the toxic sort of NEET mentality that goes around. So I was like, I'm not going to give this anymore. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
why am I putting myself through few more months of this?
Yes.
And it was at that time that my sister and my parents, again, were extremely supportive.
Great.
They told me that, yeah, I mean, you've spent so much time, you have to keep all options open.
Yeah.
You never know, you might change your mind.
Yeah.
And you have just 2 months left. So just give it all out.
Great.
And it's those things, supportive parents and discipline.
Great. So the catchphrase here is, even if you don't want to, you have to.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yes. So finally, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Mr. Prashant Sahai? I mean, such a great teacher.
Yeah.
And whenever we communicate with him, he always talks about Aditya. So you were one of his best students. So how do you find sir's classes, and what do you think about his methodologies, and what makes his lectures so unique?
Yeah, so Prashant Sahai sir was one of the best teachers I've had in physics.
Yes.
I think the best teacher in physics.
The best teacher in physics.
And that's including my IISc teachers.
Okay, that's including his IISc teachers. Oh my god. That's a huge compliment.
Because he actually made physics really interesting for me.
Okay.
And I haven't taken much physics at IISc.
Okay. Okay.
And but the thing is, I did mention about the fact that I started using H.C. Verma when I started studying physics. It was because Prashant Sahai sir recommended that I use it.
Okay.
It was not something that I thought I should do myself.
Okay.
And that turned out to be a masterstroke. Also, his classes were like excellent because he knows what has to be done for me.
Yes.
And there's nothing better than having a teacher who knows what you have to do, knows what it takes to get it.
Okay.
And the thing is, he also used to emphasize the importance of. He used to call it a compendium.
Yes, a compendium. Okay.
Which was this collection of formulae, which gave rise to those notebooks which I told you about.
Okay, so he kind of inspired that, right?
Yeah. So his idea of a compendium is a bit different from what my notebooks turned out to be.
Okay.
But if he hadn't mentioned it in every single class, I would have never done it.
Okay.
That's a fact.
Okay.
And also the way he
teaches his methodologies.
Yeah, it's excellent. So he actually does make you think in physics. So sure, thinking is not given a premium in today's NEET.
Yeah.
It has never been given a premium.
Okay.
But the exercise of thinking is certainly refreshing.
Yes. Okay.
And it's one of the things that makes research so exciting.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that sitting in Prashant Sahai sir's class, where he actually encouraged you to think of new things, actually made physics so much more interesting, so much more bearable.
Bearable.
Right? Rather than the everyday grind of just mugging up things and going through the daily grind of.
He made it fun. He made it interesting.
Yeah. So that's important.
Yeah, that is very
So for
important.
Biology, I didn't need that.
Okay.
Because I really like biology.
You really love biology.
Right. So I didn't need to have someone. I had excellent biology teachers, obviously, but I didn't need to have someone who was
who had to motivate you, who had to make it fun for you.
Yes, because I really liked.
You really liked it already, yeah.
Yeah. Chemistry, again, I had excellent teachers, and I did like quite a bit of it. But physics, it was hard getting into the groove.
Okay.
And I think
Sir brought you into the groove.
Yes, it was. He was a really important part of it.
Great.
It was after I started getting taught by him that my scores went from that stagnant 150 to at the end in NEET 2022 to 180. So,
wow.
So yeah. It was really great.
Very impressive. As we wrap up today's episode, I would like to thank Aditya for his time and his inspiring words. I'm sure many of our NEET aspirants found it very helpful, Aditya. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And congratulations on your achievements, and I wish you many more achievements in your lifetime.
Thanks so much.
Okay, all the very best. So, I'm sure Aditya's story will be a guiding light for you and help you succeed in all your academic endeavors. Thank you.